Android 18 was never supposed to fall in love. She was designed to kill, built to destroy, programmed by a man who hated Goku more than anything else in the universe. And then, a short, bald, noseless human looked at her and decided she was worth saving. That decision changed everything. Not just for her, for the entire trajectory of Dragon Ball. Because if Android 18 had never met Krillin, she would have stayed a weapon. Cell would have absorbed her, achieved perfection, and maybe won. The world would have ended. But Krillin saw something no one else did. And that's where the story really begins.
Let's start with the science. Android 18 isn't an android. She's a cyborg. The original name was Lazuli. She had a twin brother, Lapis, who became Android 17. They were human teenagers, ordinary kids, until Dr. Gero kidnapped them. He remodeled their bodies at the cellular level. He replaced bone with alloy. He wired their nervous systems into energy reactors. He turned them into weapons. The term android is a translation error that stuck. She's not a machine. She's a human who was taken apart and rebuilt. That's not semantics. That's the whole point. Because she can still feel. She can still love. She can still choose. And nobody ever gave her that chance before.
Now let's talk about Krillin. He's the weakest Z-fighter. Everyone knows it. He's been killed by Frieza, Tambourine, and a tiny demon. He's been punched through mountains. He's died more times than anyone else on the team. And he never gets stronger. He gets braver. There's a difference. Bravery isn't power. It's staying in the fight when you know you'll lose. And that's exactly what Krillin did when he met Android 18. He didn't see a weapon. He saw a woman who was tired. Tired of being used. Tired of being controlled. Tired of being someone else's tool. And he decided to help her.
During the Cell Saga, Bulma built a remote that could shut down Android 18 permanently. Krillin had it in his hand. He was close enough to press the button. He could have saved the world from Cell's perfection. But he couldn't do it. Not because he was weak, because he'd already fallen in love. He destroyed the remote instead, let Cell absorb her, let the world almost end, because he couldn't kill the woman he loved, even to save it. That's not a tactical decision. That's a human decision. And it's the only time in Dragon Ball where love wins over strategy. Toriyama wrote that scene. He knew exactly what he was doing. He was saying that some things are more important than saving the world. And that's a deeply uncomfortable truth.
After Cell's defeat, Krillin did something even more important. He used the Dragon Balls to wish for the bombs inside Android 18 and Android 17 to be removed. Shenron couldn't restore her humanity. She was too modified for that. But he could free her from the bomb in her chest. Krillin didn't want to control her. He wanted her to be free. That's the difference between love and ownership. He didn't ask for anything in return. He didn't expect her to love him back. He just wanted her to be able to walk away if she wanted to. And that's the first time anyone had ever offered her that. She was a cyborg designed to destroy the world. And the first person who treated her like a person was the weakest fighter in the universe.
Here's what makes this work. Android 18 is not a classic shonen love interest. She doesn't blush. She doesn't fall into his arms. She doesn't thank him. She just observes. Quietly. She watches him fight. She watches him fail. She watches him get up again. And slowly, she starts to trust him. Akira Toriyama was asked about this relationship. His answer was surprisingly honest. I'm really bad when it comes to romantic stories like this. I think that probably number 18, who used to be a delinquent, found Krillin's seriousness and straightforwardness refreshing, and somehow or other, she ended up falling for him. That's it. No grand romance, no elaborate love story, just the quiet understanding that Krillin was the first person in years to treat her like a person instead of a weapon. She was a delinquent from a hard life, and he was a fighter who never gave up. That's enough. By the Buu saga, they had a daughter, Marin, a family, a life. The woman who was designed to destroy Goku ended up living in a peaceful house with the weakest Z-fighter, raising a child, and being genuinely happy. She shops, she cooks, she argues with Krillin about money. She becomes ordinary. And that's the most extraordinary thing about her. She was a weapon made of metal and rage. And she became a wife and mother. Not because she was reprogrammed, because she was seen. For the first time in her life. Krillin didn't save her with power. He saved her with patience. He saved her with presence. He saved her by being the one person who didn't ask her to be anything other than what she already was.
And in the end, that's the science of how Krillin got Android 18. There was no magic formula, no transformation, no Dragon Ball wish for love. Just a bald human who saw a person inside a weapon and refused to look away. And the weapon, for the first time, decided to put down the armor. That's not a love story. That's a miracle.